Alright boys, this is a big one. This is a big one, you know. I just want to quickly say, obviously this is 4K footage, right? I am not showing any combat in this video. This video is going to be strictly me just swinging around the city, right? And as you can see, I'm using a suit that you get right at the start. I am not spoiling anybody here. I'm not spoiling anybody. I even turned the HUD off because my HUD is a spoiler itself. So I have no UI on the screen. I turned it off. All you're seeing is me swinging around. I can't show you combat because even combat is a major spoiler, right? And when I say major spoiler, I'm talking about my combat. My combat itself would spoil the last hour of the game pretty much. Everything that I can do, like, one thing I'll start off with this review with. This game has so much stuff. You are getting new stuff all the way until the last hour of the game, you know, and that right there is crazy. But also kind of makes it hard to review this game without using old footage, because, yeah, I mean, me simply getting into combat would spoil, like, close to the ending of the game, right? Because you're getting new stuff throughout the entire game. So, all I can show you right now is me just swinging around, right? And I turned off the minimap. I turned off the HUD, so you can't get spoiled by that, and you also can't get spoiled by the minimap, you know, to see things that you can do. I'm strictly just, pretty much right now, I'm just showing off the swinging and the graphics, you know, with this beautiful 4K footage. It's a very beautiful game, one of the best looking games I've ever seen, although we'll get into some criticism later. But yeah, later on I will be getting into spoilers, but I'm going to have a giant spoiler warning on the screen, and I'm going to have it up the whole time I'm talking about spoilers. And yeah, I'm really going out of my way to avoid spoilers here, to avoid spoiling people. And why is that? It's because I wasn't spoiled on this game. I was not spoiled on this game in the slightest. I knew nothing going in. And what I can say is this game has so many moments that will shock you if you're a Spider-Man fan. It'll just blow you away. And I mean, it's stuff that they never shown in the trailers. Something like things that you just never expect. And there is so many moments that if you go in without being spoiled, I mean, this will just be a... Pretty much this game right here is literally a game I will never forget. Like, ever. I will never forget this game. You know, and let me just talk about why this game is so special, because, you know, Spider-Man 1 came out in 2018, and it was a good year. 2018 was a good year. That year we had three pretty big games in particular. Four for me personally, you know. Dragonballfighterz came out there. That was a really big game for me personally. God of War 2018 came out. Red Dead 2 came out. And Spider-Man 1 came out. Now, me, I don't like realistic games. I think realistic games are incredibly boring. I don't think they're fun. So, Red Dead 2 was a game where it was a good game, but it was just too realistic for me to really have that much fun out of it. So I preferred, even as a kid, because I was a kid when those games came out. You know, I'm not an old fellow. I was a kid when those games came out. I was like 14 or something. Yeah, they were. I don't like realistic games, so God of War and Spider-Man really stood out to me, right? But after that, I mean, PlayStation really fell off for me. I thought Last of Us 2 was only okay. Both the Horizon Zero Dawn games, I couldn't get past the prologue. I don't like the Horizon games at all. Spider-Man Miles Morales, I wasn't impressed by it. I thought, this is just a slightly better version of the first game, right? I did not like Miles Morales that much. I never replayed it. I replayed the first game a few times. I never replayed Miles Morales. I didn't like it that much. I only thought it was okay, right? You know, it definitely was a better game than the first game, but I thought the story was worse. I thought the enemies were worse. Like, I just didn't really like Miles Morales that much. It was only okay. I wouldn't say it was a bad game, but it was only okay for me. And then, God of War Ragnarok came out, and I finished God of War Ragnarok, and I had to force myself to finish that game. I was very unimpressed. It was a good game when it came to the story. You know, it had a good story, but that was it. It felt like everything else was neglected. It was almost the exact same game as God of War 2018, you know, for the most part. There was very minor changes, right? So, you know, I didn't like Horizon, I didn't like God of War Ragnarok that much. Miles Morales I didn't really like. So I just thought, you know what? I think PlayStation makes games for casual players who just like, you know, to have a cinematic experience. And I just thought PlayStation games weren't for me anymore. I mean, they're always going to be good games. Well, they're going to be good stories, high quality. But, I mean, as a game, are they really going to be that good, you know? Like, I don't know. But, what I can say is that, wow. Just wow. This game completely changed that for me. Completely changed that for me. I would go as far to say this may be one of the best games I've ever played. And you've got to understand is that I am a Spider-Man fan. You got to understand that. I mean, Spider-Man is probably my favorite hero, you know. I mean, I was born slightly after the first Spider-Man movie came out. So that means literally, I mean, one of the first movies I've ever seen in my life was Spider-Man 1, right? And I loved Spider-Man 2, and I saw Spider-Man 3 when it came out. I was just a small child, you know, and I loved all of them. And I still love them, you know, and they're still my favorite movies, you know. Obviously, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, I also liked, but I only saw them one time when they came out. So I wasn't super blown away by those movies, but I do remember liking them. But like I said, I only saw them one time when they came out. The first three, though, I've seen so many times throughout my life. So, yeah, I mean, and then obviously because I was a little kid that loved those movies, you know, if there were games with Spider-Man in it, you already know I was playing them. You know, back in the day, I had. Oh wait, hold on. I have to actually cut the footage here. Yeah, I had to cut the footage there to avoid spoilers because, like I said, my combat spoils like a lot of the game. Anyways, yeah, I mean, obviously I played the games too. You know, back in the day. I mean, I had a lot of Spider-Man games. The two main ones that I played, or actually there were 3 Spider-Man games I played. Spider-Man 1. I love that game because it, you know, it was pretty much just the movie, right? Unless no, yeah, it was pretty much just the movie, right? I haven't played it in like 15 years or something, but I love that game, right? Spider-Man 2, I had Spider-Man 2. I didn't like Spider-Man 2 as much because obviously it's a 10 times better game, but when you're a little kid, it's really hard to understand the physics of swinging. Spider-Man 1 had no physics swinging, right? Spider-Man 2 obviously is the game that created like the physics-based swinging, and that was just hard for me to understand as a kid. But the third game that stuck with me because it introduced me to Venom was Ultimate Spider-Man. That game also had physics-based swinging, but it appealed to me a lot more as a kid because of the graphics, and the intro is something I'll never forget. I didn't know who Venom was. I was like 4 or 5 years old, and it just blew me away, you know. Because like obviously I saw Spider-Man 3, right, and I was kind of just like, oh, Venom looks cool. I didn't know he was supposed to look like a monster, right? Spider-Man 3 Venom isn't really a monster, you know. He's not that big, you know. Like, Ultimate Spider-Man showed me what Venom is, and obviously, like his color scheme in that game, like the purple, I just love the purple Venom. It's just, I mean, obviously it doesn't translate well into realistic looking games or movies, but I just love the purple color, you know. Anyways, yeah. And then, you know, later on when the PS3 came out, I got you know, Web of Shadows. I loved Web of Shadows. Shattered Dimensions. I just loved Spider-Man my whole life, you know. And pretty much that's what I gotta say right there. That's my review of the game. I'm gonna give the game a 10 out of 10. And you're probably wondering, you know, you didn't say much. The problem with this game is it's very hard. I'm not gonna be IGN, right? I'm not gonna show footage in the background that could potentially spoil the game, because you're getting new stuff throughout this game, the entire game, all the way until the end, for both characters, for both Spider-Men. You're getting characters, or you're getting stuff the whole time. New abilities all the way until the very end of the game. And some of them are heavily tied to the story, you know? So I can't talk about the things that I like without really spoiling the game. But here's what I can say. If you are a Spider-Man fan, there is a chance that, well, no, there is no chance for this. This is the best Spider-Man game, right? If you're a Spider-Man fan, you will automatically, and you played this game, you will be able to admit that from the start. This is the best Spider-Man game. However, this is also, this game, it could be better than any Spider-Man movie that's ever released. It's that good. If you told me that you like this better than any of the movies, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be like, oh, you're crazy for saying that. This game, I mean, this game is perfection, you know. And unfortunately, I can't talk about my gripes with the game. I have tiny gripes with the game that I can't talk about because they're heavy spoilers. I will be talking about them in this video, in the spoiler part of the video. Overall, if you're a Spider-Man fan, this game is going to be a 10 out of 10 for you. If you are not a Spider-Man fan, this is the game that will make you a fan. So if you want to be a fan, if you want to like it, this will do it for you. Like, guaranteed, 100%. Because one thing I will say about the game, not only is it a good Spider-Man game, for me, this is the first ever next-gen game that I've ever played. Simply, this game would not work on last-gen consoles, right? This game would only work on, you know, PS5 or super high-end PCs, right? This game has some of the most insane, and it has nothing to do with graphics, by the way. Don't get me wrong, the game looks good, but it has nothing to do with graphics. This game has some of the most insane missions that would not be possible without next-gen just technology in general. Even the intro of the game would just not be possible. And that's what I like about this game. This game is the definition of next-gen. If you lowered the graphics on this game, you could not just make a PS4 version of this game. It's impossible to make a last-gen version of this game because the missions and the gameplay just won't allow it. I mean, you need to have the SSD for this game to work. It's impossible to just lower the graphics and make a last-gen version of this game. This game is next-gen. You would have to completely remake missions in order to make it work for last-gen. It's impossible. So, this game is the first game where I felt like, oh, this is next-gen. Because don't get me wrong, there's games that have next-gen graphics, but this not only has next-gen graphics, it has things that happen that could only happen in modern day technology. Yeah, it's a perfect game, right? It's a perfect game. However, I'm worried about some stuff. Now, the things I'm worried about have no effect on this game. More so the effect on the future of Insomniac. So, right now, I am starting the spoiler section. I'm going to put a warning on the screen in case you're skimming through the video. Yeah, let's get into spoilers. So, you know, I said, yeah, the game is pretty much perfect. Just buy it, you know? Just buy it. But, now we're going to get into spoilers. Remember, this is really how I'm going to talk about how the game is perfect. Stuff like that. So, if you're not interested in the game, or you already beat the game, you know, yeah, just enjoy this part. However, I just want to say, and I want to re-clarify this, if you aren't a Spider-Man fan, this game will make you a Spider-Man fan. So don't get it spoiled. Don't get the game spoiled for you. Experience it for the first time. With that being said, though, let's get into the spoilers, because even if nobody watches these reviews, I like to have them at least for myself, because right now I'm going to make some pretty bold predictions. So yeah. This game is so perfect
I love New York.
that I don't think Insomniac will ever be able to live up to this game. That's all I gotta say. Again, spoiler warning, here we go. The end of the game confirms that there will be a third game. Unfortunately, it's looking like the main villains of the third game are Doc Ock and Green Goblin? That's not very exciting. Obviously Green Goblin's cool, but like, we're reusing a villain here? Or no, I mean the game's not out obviously, so the game's not even announced. So, yeah, but, I mean the first game teased Venom, and here we are, this game is teasing Green Goblin and Doc Ock. It's like, Venom is seemingly dead, but I don't think he is. I don't think they would kill Venom off that quickly. I don't think Venom's dead. But Kraven is dead, so Kraven's gone. The Sinister Six is done. They're all gone. Mr. Negative is gone. So we like, they used everything they have in this game. It's why it makes this game so good. They didn't hold anything back. But at the same time, I don't see Spider-Man 3 being as good as this game already. I mean, the game's not even announced, and I'm gonna call this right now. I think Spider-Man 3 is gonna be better than Spider-Man 1, but worse than this game. I'm calling it right now. I mean, the amount of abilities you get in this game, I mean, just tell me, how could they come up with any more abilities for these characters? You know, how? It's impossible. What can they do for Spider-Man 3? I mean, the map, too. They expanded the map to its maximum, like, capacity. There's no other additions you can make to the map at this point. I mean, what do you even do for a third game? You used everything here. You used all the villains, you used the map is to its maximum capacity. You gave You gave the Spider-Man abilities. You gave him so much stuff that I don't think it's possible to give them any more. I don't think a third game is possible. I'm going to be honest, you know. Me personally, I was talking about God of War Ragnarok earlier, right? That game, God of War Ragnarok, felt like a glorified DLC for the most part. Many people were calling this game a DLC as well. This game is not a DLC. This is the definition of everything a sequel should be. However, Spider-Man 3, I don't see it being anything other than a DLC. How do you expand what this game has given us? You can't. You can't expand something that's been expanded to its maximum capacity. I can't imagine, even if you add Venom as a playable character, which, by the way, that's also one of my negatives to this game. If you don't know, Venom is playable in this game. That blew me away. That, like, you don't understand how hyped I was about that. But then the reality hits you. He's only playable for about 20 minutes. And then he's gone for the rest of the game. He turns into a villain, and you just fight him. I mean, he's a villain the whole time, obviously, but you just... Oh, and here, I'm going to be messing around with photo mode stuff here in this footage, so just enjoy me taking a picture, I guess. But, yeah, he's playable for about 20 minutes. He has a it's a really good moment in the story, I can't lie. I mean, well, I'm in the spoiler section, so I could say, you know, he gives Kraven a very fitting death. And I really like that. I mean, this game is so good that, I mean, they want it to be so faithful to these characters that, like, I mean, they showed Venom biting off Kraven's head in a rated T game. There was blood. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. Like, there's no lengths that Insomniac won't go to give these characters the moments they deserve. And that obviously makes me excited for Wolverine. Because that just shows me that they're not going to hold anything back. I mean, Venom just bit off a guy's head in a Spider-Man game. Like, what? I mean, he was snapping people's backs. Like, it was insane. I was so happy with that moment. But here is my problem with the game. You beat the game. And you know what I was waiting for when you beat the game? I was waiting for a message. Oh, you can now free roam as Peter and Miles. You can also free roam with Venom. That message never came. You play Venom for 20 minutes in the story mode, and that's it. You never play him again. Why? Why? I need a genuine answer. Obviously, Venom is assumingly dead, right? But you just made a whole character. Why can't you mess around with him in free roam after you beat the game? You know, it's Venom. Hello. Who does not want to play as Venom? That makes no sense to me. You play it for him one time in the story mode. You're like, wow, this is amazing. He feels so cool to play. He looks cool. This is perfection. And that was it. They used it on that one moment in story mode. Yes, that does make that one moment even more unforgettable. The fact that they didn't bat tank Venom, you know. You know how in Batman Arkham Knight they make you use the tank every 30 seconds? They didn't do that with Venom. They give you this whole new character to play for about 20 minutes and they take him away from you and you never play him again. That's expensive. I can't only imagine how much money it costs to do that, and they just did it and they didn't care. They didn't force you to play Venom ever again. It was just a one-time moment, and that's really impressive. That isn't stupidly impressive. But it's Venom. Hello, I want to use him again. Hello? Am I crazy for that? Am I crazy for just wanting to jump around on the rooftops with him after I beat the game? I mean, all you have to do is add an animation for him running up walls. That's it. And then he's playable in free roam. That's all you gotta do. He didn't have a wall run animation. Just add a wall run animation for him. And he's playable, just like that. So that really got me into my negative of this game, which is this game, when you beat this game and you 100% all the districts, there's nothing. You can't even change the weather or the time of day, to my knowledge. In the first game, you can change the weather and the time of day. In this game, you cannot change the weather or the time of day. The time of day you see right now is permanent forever. That's crazy. And here's the thing. There's no New Game Plus. So, you beat the game, that's it. You don't get to play as Venom. You can't free roam as Venom. You can't change the time of day. Here's what you don't understand. This game has so many different times of days, so many different types of weather. There's one point in the game where the entire map changes. The whole city you're seeing right here changes and gets infected by the symbiote. So there's like, the whole thing gets corrupted. You play in that map for 20 minutes and it's gone. You can't ever see it again. So I was like, oh, maybe when you beat the game, you can like change the map to that version of the map. You can't. I mean, they put so much effort into this stuff, and they don't ever force you to see it ever again. They don't force you to see the symbiote corrupted city. They don't force you to play as Venom again. That probably costs so much money to do. And it just shows how good the game is because they don't ever reuse any of it. However, I want them to reuse it. I want to play as Venom again. I want to go into the corrupted city again. I want to play in the pitch black nighttime where there's lightning. I want that again. You can't go back to that. You have to restart the whole game. You can't change the time of day. It's crazy to me. The end game in this game, when you are finished everything, it's pretty bad. But at the same time, it just makes all the stuff you experienced before way more unique because you'll never see it again unless you replay the whole game. It makes that pretty unique, you know? But it makes it disappointing that I just can't change the time of day. Or I can't just free roam as Venom. I know Venom is nowhere near as fleshed out as the other two characters. I don't care, he's Venom. You can at least mess around with him in photo mode, that would be fun, right? But no, he's just not there at all. So yeah. What I will say is the game is pretty much perfect. But it leaves me stupidly worried for the third game because I don't think the third game will ever live up to this game. I really don't. I think Wolverine could still be good, right? Because it's a completely different thing. But as for Spider-Man 3, I don't think they could live up to it, you know? And I'm really excited for the updates that this game gets because I have a feeling there's going to be a Venom DLC or at least an update that lets you play as them in, you know, when you're free roaming around. Other than that, you know, this game is perfect. Like I said, I'm worried for the future though because of how good this game is. It's impossible to live up to this game without the third game just feeling like a DLC. Yeah. Obviously I just spoiled everything. So don't... Well, actually I didn't really spoil everything. I only spoiled really the Venom stuff and the Green Goblin confirmation, really. Yeah. Still, they're pretty big spoilers if you're planning on playing the game, but overall, game is really good. I give it a 10 out of 10. Just play it immediately. I don't know why you waited to get spoiled for me to say this, so I don't know why I'm saying this here, but yeah, game is great. I wonder if my prediction will come true. My prediction is Spider-Man 3 will be worse than this game, but better than Spider-Man 1. And the series, the trilogy, will go out on kind of an L, you know? But anyways, yeah, like, subscribe, and tell me how you feel about this game. Peace.